Everyone, this is Rob, and you are watching Rob's MetalWorks. All my Metal Familia, thank you for watching again as we continue our conquest to cover all the best metal the Lone Star State has to offer. And once again, we are delving deep into South Texas, and it brings me great pleasure this evening to welcome a true veteran, really a legendary band from the Rio Grand Valley. I have with me Mr. Jaime Perez of Severance. Sir, you honor me tonight by coming up here and being on our program.
No, the honor is mine, Rob. This is long overdue, man. It's just great to be a part of this. So, Texas history, Rob's MetalWorks and Severance. What is it, combined 50 years of metal?
Holy shit, man.
30 on
God.
ours, like 25. Yeah,
The 25 on mine, yeah.
Half a century of metal right here, man. So, yeah. Most people don't even live to be 50, but here we are, together combined. So,
great,
man. It's great.
I wanted to get started quickly because you and I were here talking, and we're just talking about all kinds of stuff of Texas history.
Yep.
Cameo theater, medieval nights,
November
fucking
to Dismember.
November to Dismember.
Yeah.
Like we're
All
talking
kinds
about
of
all
stuff.
this cool stuff.
All the cool shows at the Showcase Theater on West Avenue that I came down.
Oh,
Creator,
yeah.
Corner, Death,
Death
Pestilence.
Angel.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
I mean,
Sepultura. Yeah.
oh God, we're gonna have a great conversation today, and all you people out there are gonna be able to partake. So, geez, man, thank you so much. How have you been enjoying the Alamo City? I know you've been here for a day or two, and I saw your post. You were eating at the smoke shack, some barbecue or what?
Amazing. I saw an episode of Guy Fieri's Triple D, Diners, Drive-In, and Dives, and they're talking about this smoke shack place in San Antonio, and I'm like, I always go to Rudy's or Barbecue. I'm like, what is this smoke shack place? So I told my wife, we got to go there. They have like this grilled cheese brisket sandwich. So I'm like, we got to go. Sure enough, we went last night. My expectations were high, so it's very rare that when I have them that high, they're met, they exceeded them, man. So Smoke Shack, right? I need a sponsorship, guys. I need you to represent Severance, get us some free food. I don't know, lifetime supply. But that was some good stuff. Yeah,
It's not cheap though.
No, it's not. But it's worth it.
It's worth
I would have
it,
paid
yeah.
twice the amount. Yeah, that's how good it was.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible.
I'm glad you're enjoying the city at this time. I know you're a regular, and you know San Antonio's always been part of your repertoire. But let's get started. There's people all over the country who watch our program, and some people may not be familiar with the Rio Grand Valley. For some of you who do not know, it is the southern tip of Texas, and really, I've been always kind of intrigued about the valley. I try to go down there whenever I can, and we were talking about Al DeBarrio's Thrash Bash, where I saw you guys last play. That was 2016 at Cine del Rey.
Cine del Rey, yes.
Yeah, great show. I was telling you, man, I was upset at myself because I didn't get to record any live footage.
I was upset too, but
I was tired, bro. I was tired that night, I remember. But nonetheless, I saw the band's performance. You guys are totally heavy and brutal.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
And, I felt it was appropriate to use the word legend when I talk about you as an original founding member of Severance, who started in 1989.
Yep.
That is crazy, bro. That the band has been around since that time. And you were telling me, like, Rob, we've always kind of been a band. We've never disbanded. We never, went away for a decade and came back. We've consistently been a part of the metal scene in the RGV. So for my initial question, let's talk a little bit about the beginnings of Severance, because I've seen like some of the old pictures, and you guys started like really young.
Yeah, we're young.
Yeah, so talk about that.
Severance became Severance in May of '89. We were a band before that, but we weren't called Severance. And what we were doing was through tape trading, we would get a bunch of all these foreign bands. And one band that hit us hard was Sepultura, and we were playing a bunch of Sepultura covers from the Schizophrenia back. And we would play shows, and that was a lot of our songs. We would do some Creator, some Sodom, but Sepultura was what was getting people's attention. I remember one time we played a show and they're like, dude, your songs are awesome. They're like, that's not us. That's a band called Sepultura. So what kind of stuck, Sepultura has a song called Rest in Pain on the Schizophrenia album. So we were kind of dubbed Rest in Pain for a while because we didn't really have a working name. And then we're like, you know what? That's not what we want. And we're not going to be doing covers forever. Let's come up with our own, persona. So Severance was what eventually became out of Rest in Pain. But we were around before 89 as Rest in Pain, maybe like late 88, actually, maybe even 87, as far as I can remember. And we did some shows as Rest in Pain with the Annihilator from Corpus and Devastation, Dead Horse, and we played some shows in Mexico. And then eventually we said, you know what, we don't want to be known as a Sepultura cover band or be known as Rest in Pain. So Severance became our name in May of 89. But we were around a little bit before then as Rest in Pain. So
and at that time, too, like the old Sepultura, that was less, it was kind of like less thrash. They became more thrashy, but back then they were more kind of heavier and
dark,
deathy, and ultimately Severance became a death metal band. So how did kind of the death metal genre or your take on death metal kind of incorporate itself into Severance?
I guess it's just one of those things that happens, it's just a natural evolution based on your surroundings, what you're listening to, what you're exposed to. It was just one of those natural progressions that, this album sounded like this, and then the next one sounded like this, and the next one sounded like that. And, I guess it's good to not sound exactly the same. I know you don't want to sound too different, where like you don't even sound like the same band, but Severance has progressed and it has evolved. A lot of people are like, oh, this is more death and this is more thrash, or oh, this is like in the middle, or I can see, where you guys are building to this. And it's all cool as long as it's enjoyable and, and we have fun doing it. But yeah, it's just the way it happened. It's kind of weird. We listen to, everything else from back in the day, your Slayers, your Metallicas, and, and then it branched out to, Cannibal Corpse and Napalm Death and, Cryptopsy. And I guess when you hear that, it becomes a part of you, it becomes a part of you. And this is what we are now today. So
what was the Rio Grande Valley metal scene like at that time?
It was the hub for metal. Everybody would come to McAllen to play. It was weird because I saw Metallica there in June the 5th of 1986. They were opening, the Gods were opening from, and they were doing the leg when they were opening for Ozzy. I guess it was the Ultimate Centaur, I'm not too sure. And they did some shows. Everybody played McAllen, and it's weird because a lot of people didn't realize that Sabbath was there, Blue Oyster Cult was there, King Diamond was there, even bands like Santana. I mean, just classic legendary bands. Slayer would always play there. So that was the place to go back in the day, and it's pretty much as far south as you can get into Mexico without going into Mexico.
Right.
So, and I guess you had a lot of the Mexican. Buses would be busing Mexican nationals to the shows, like 2 or 3 or 4 buses, and the bands knew that, so they're like, you know what, we need to play. It was a place called the Villarreal, which now no longer does shows, and now it's a Harley Davidson, place for motorcycles. But that's where all the shows were, and everybody played McAllen, and it was, Devastation would always come down there and play like twice a month, and we were trying to get that opening slot. But it was cool. It was the crowds are still there. I mean, everybody's done their own thing, but the shows don't go there as often. And what my understanding is that on the way back from McAllen to go back up north, you have to pass that checkpoint, and I think a lot of bands get in trouble there. That's what my understanding was, what I've been told. They don't want to go that far down because on the way up you have that predicament. So, but I mean, everybody had played in McAllen back in the 80s and 90s. It was just so awesome. So
you mentioned something that I recall. I remember, and I don't remember the date, and you probably will. It was a Slayer show at that place, and Meshuggah was there. And Sick of It All was supposed to play, but they didn't play. And I remember I was there, doing my thing. And just like you said, I saw a lot of cars in the parking lot with Mexico license plates.
Was that an outdoor show?
I can't quite recall.
I know Slayer did a show called Tattoo the Earth, a tour, and that was outside.
No, it wasn't that. It was way before that.
Okay, I think I'm going to say they must have played at least 5 times back at home. They did the last tour there. Also, well, actually, it was like in Edinburgh, Texas, which is on the right next to McAllen. But they did the final the tour there as well. But they played about 3 or 4 times there, and with Overkill, with Wasp, and with so many legendary shows. I got to see them there once with Dave Lombardo, once with TJ on drums, and then of course with Paul. So I got to see him, with all 3 drummers, and it was amazing. But I mean, it's like all the shows kind of mesh into each other. Like which tour was that? Which show was that? But yeah,
especially when you get our age.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. You're lucky to remember your birthday, your wife's birthday. But yeah, they did go back down there a lot. That was
I remember hanging out with Jeff Hanneman, and it's something I'll never forget that I hung out with him in the Valley. But the Valley's always had rabid fans. I also kind of want you to share about like the musicians, like the bands. Was there a scene of local musicians there that were playing metal and getting involved in doing local shows and stuff like that for those same fans?
Yeah, definitely, especially back in the 80s and 90s. And of course, it's evolved and progressed. Now there's way more bands, or maybe you can hear way more bands because of the avenues that are there for promotion. It's so easy to hear of them. All you got to do is post a rehearsal on YouTube and millions of people can see it, or it can go worldwide. It was a lot different back then. You'd have to record demos and go in the studios and pay hard-earned money that you didn't have. But yeah, there's been bands since the 80s, and I mean, it's just maybe even before that. But yeah, I remember a lot of bands. Of course, most of them aren't around. But there's always been that underground connection, that underground scene there. And for some reason, it feels like it's a part of that area. It feels like it should come from the bottom and then work its way up, But yeah, I mean, the scene has always been pretty strong, pretty close knit, pretty, everybody knows everybody. Yeah, it's a string of maybe like 8 or 9 cities down South Texas, but you kind of know everybody. Oh yeah, I know that band. I know so and so. I know so and so. So it's very close knit as well. So that's a pretty cool thing about it.
And now the scene has continued.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's new bands up and coming who are inspired by guys like you, who were doing it.
I hope so. I hope we inspire, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy, because people are like, oh yeah, I used to see you guys when I was like 12. I'm like, really? Like, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing,
It's good, man. It's good.
So, yeah, but it's good to just, keep it going, keep it continuing.
And I think one of the things too that I've always kind of loved about, Severance and what was happening down there, it was like this really like underground thing. It wasn't trying to be commercialized or break through from the underground. You guys were really proud to be part of the underground. Flying that old school banner. We are old school. We, this is our scene, and I think I've always kind of respected that about the Valley.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your first initial step into the scene, into the underground. You can't forget that. You forget who you are. You forget where you're going. So yeah, it's part of you. It's you can't take that away. It's there. It's a part of our history, and now we're just building on that.
We're gonna talk about the band's latest release, the Concession Continuum.
Yes.
But that came out recently. In the recent past.
Yeah,
in the recent past.
Form,
but, when you talk about the expanse of the career that Severance has had, you said earlier, 30 years, if we talk about, the early 90s, all the 90s, you guys released some records throughout that time. And I was kind of trying to pick your brain. We talked about the afterbirth of the Infamy demo, which was that your first kind of release?
That was our first studio demo. It had 5 songs. Before that, we had released a demo a year before in '91. It was called Procreation. That had 3 of the songs that were on Afterbirth of Infamy. Funny you mentioned that. Extreme Music out of Spain is going to be releasing the Afterbirth of Infamy on 10-inch vinyl, a 300 run with some shirts as well. Dave Rotten out there with Extreme Music in Spain will be releasing that real soon. I believe pre-orders for that will be going on this month or next month, and I should be getting a few, but most of those are already sold. He's doing 100 of each color, and he's doing some shirts with that, so we're looking forward.
Just vinyl?
It's going to be a vinyl release only. Okay. He's got these legendary bands like Master and Malevolent Creation, and so for us to be a part of that roster, it's called the 10 Inches of Death Cult series. We're honored to be a part of that. That should be coming out in about a month or two. So.
But didn't you do a straight reissue of Afterbirth of Infamy?
No, it's been reissued on CD form, like in a compilation.
Yeah.
No, as far as other than on being on cassette, that was it. We did a bunch of tape trading through that, and we would record those, and it got out there. It came out on a lot of magazines all over the world, so that was pretty interesting how that happened through tape trading and radio stations playing the stuff, and so it was pretty cool.
And that was in 1991. Salvation Denied was next.
96. Yeah,
96.
That was the 4th
Salvation
song,
Denied.
Self-released.
Yeah. And throughout all this time, you guys had
92 had our Abysmal Ascent 7-inch That was 92, if I'm not mistaken. That was released with Drown Production, which is what Extreme Music became. Yeah. So 4 years later. So we had done 2 demos, and then a 7-inch record, and then Salvation Tonight in 96. That was a 4-song EP. Actually, I just got a message from Death Rune Records out of Spain as well. They want to release that on vinyl and have some extra tracks. So I'm negotiating that. So hopefully we'll be getting Salvation Tonight. There's all these retroactive releases coming out and stuff. So
I think that's great, man.
Yeah,
I think, and I was going to get into this in a little bit, but I think one of the things too, when I talk about the underground, you were talking about tape trading and networking on a very kind of underground level, but now because of the internet, you're able to contact. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've always been impressed about is that Severance is on the back end has been able to distribute their music like all over the world. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you guys are releasing your stuff, and you said Spain and Norway, fucking in South America. Your stuff is getting around. I mean, if you look for it, you can find it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the Concession Continuum, we released it ourselves, self-financed on CD and vinyl. And I figure we have all these resources of how to find people and where to distribute them through. So we did that ourselves. The problem with the Concession Continuum is when I was trying to get it on a label, a lot of labels were like, oh, well, we've already finished, the rosters that we need for this year. We're not going to sign until next year. Oh, I like it, but I can't release it till another year and a half. And I'm like, you know what? We have this music here that we're really, glad about. We want to showcase it. So we released it ourselves. Ossuary Industries out of Houston just released the Concession Continuum on cassette a few months back. So now it's available in all 3 formats.
Does that one have the 2 bonus tracks?
Yeah, it's got 2 bonus tracks from some live shows we did out there in Harlingen, Texas at a festival. So yeah, those are the only place you're going to find those 2 songs. So
you need to send me some goodies, man. I want some Severance
definitely. We got
goodies.
some goodies coming out.
You hooked me up with the Concession Continuum, but some of that old stuff is hard to find, unless you get a reissue. I mean, some of you fans out there in the RGV who have the original releases, that's pretty cool. And then What Lies Ahead came out in 2001, so like 10 years after.
A lot of lineup changes.
Some lineup changes.
There was a drastic change in writing style. Yeah, a little bit of,
what kind of progress? So if you talk about like the early 90s up until What Lies Ahead, what Lies Ahead? Would you consider that like the debut full length?
That was a debut full length. Yeah, the rest were demos and 7 inches, and the Salvation Denied was an EP of 4 songs. So this was the first full fledged 8, 9, 10 songs and stuff. Yeah.
And by the time you guys had gotten to What Lies Ahead, how did you kind of feel about where the band was musically at that point?
It was getting good response, and we were enjoying what we were doing. So we had no issues with that. That was re-released on vinyl with a Disembodied record out of Argentina about a year and a half ago. So What Lies Ahead is now available on vinyl, full-length vinyl, and as well as, of course, CD, which was released with a couple of labels, World War III. It was supposed to be released originally with Repulse in Spain, but Repulse went under, so they sold the rights to World War III in California, and they released it. And I think there's also a label called The End or Black End or something like that. It's kind of hard to find. Oh, and Burning Dogma out of the Dallas area re-released it as well. So yeah, it's been reissued several times, which I guess is pretty cool. People want, hey, I don't have it, but I can still get this version. And a lot of people collect every single version of every item. So I'm like that myself. So
yeah, but musically, you guys have kind of stayed in that traditional vein of death metal. You said
I think that the What Lies Ahead, I think, is more obvious that it's becoming more death than the thrashy. We were really influenced by that, early '90s. And that's a lot of
thrash.
Exactly.
That was the thrash era.
Yeah, Metallica, Slayer, Dark Angel, all that early Sepultura, and then we started hearing a lot of Napalm Death and Suffocation. Like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So Immolation and that, and I guess it eventually progressed in our sound as well.
Yeah.
But
cool,
we try to keep it fresh. We've tried to avoid sounding like one band specifically, that way, like, oh, they sound like so-and-so, or they're a so-and-so clone. But it's very hard to maintain a fresh sound. But, I think we've done that with the last release, and it's just Severance,
Yeah. So all of you fans out there who want to get your hands on some of this classic Texas metal from Severance can just look online or go to
We
for
have
your
the
Facebook.
the website for the band is Severance Metal. A lot of people spell Severance with no A's. It's SEVERANCE, you know, and metal all together. And we have a web store there. And of course, I'm on Facebook, so you can reach me there. And I have a little distro as well where I sell a bunch of CDs, cassettes, and vinyls of stuff I've acquired from everywhere. So I have that also going as well. But yeah, you can find the Severance stuff through us or through the labels it's been released on, pretty much. But someone's got it on eBay or Amazon somewhere.
Yeah.
Just don't pay $50 or $60 for
Right,
something.
right. Talk a little bit. I thought that one thing that we were talking about earlier, and I asked you about, was the Transmigration Reincarnation release. You said that was from Asia?
Yeah.
Or coming out from Asia.
I don't even know if I'm saying, I'm probably butchering it. It's Juan Quan Records. A gentleman named T.I. contacted me. He's like, hey, man, I release old stuff. I want to release you. And I'm like, wait, don't say old. Just how about we go with classic or seasoned?
Where are they from again?
I want to say it's China. I could be wrong because I remember they were going to finish the release and he was having a hard time sending it to it. It took like about 4.5 months to get the package from China.
Jesus.
And this whole pandemic thing, like it was from China.
I hate when I buy shit on Amazon and it's coming from China. It takes forever to
it
get
takes a while.
But yeah, it could be China, Taiwan, Korea. You don't know.
Yeah, Japan.
Come on.
But yeah, so he released all the 90s stuff and it's called that. But to avoid any misconception.
So it's a compilation of all your 90s releases.
The cover he decided to go with was the cover of our Salvation Denied. So it has the same cover. It's just that the original Salvation Denied, the logo is a purple. And I told him, you know what, let's change it up. You're China, your flag is white and red. Let's put a red logo. So the difference in cover is the color of the logo. I didn't want it to create too confusion. So because the Salvation Denied is usually just 4 songs, this one is a good 12 or 14 songs from all the 90s stuff. It came out real nice. Came out pretty cool. We're really happy with the way it came out.
I really want that too, man.
Yeah, I've got those at home. I've got a few. He only sent me like 60, so you're on hold for that, Rob. I promise you.
Don't forget about me,
I'm getting home
brother.
and I'm going to mail you one, yeah.
Yeah, so I need one in here.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
You'll get one.
Very cool, man. And that's great, as I would imagine as a musician and a legendary band, having your music out there distributed all over the world, people are jamming to it. Nobody's getting rich, but we want to, you find great gratification in knowing that people are jamming to fucking South Texas metal through Severance.
Yeah, definitely.
All fans all over the world.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, we've been to Europe a couple of times. We were playing a show in Kiev, Ukraine. It was a Kiev Sonic Massacre. I can't remember. Kiev Sonic Massacre. We get there, Rob. We left here in Texas. It was 84 degrees. We get to Kiev. It was -12. We were freezing. It's snowing.
You didn't pack a jacket.
Outside. It wasn't the kind of jacket you need in Kiev. Yeah, it was a regular jacket. But we get there, and there's this guy outside with like all our CDs, Rob. Oh, will you sign this? Will you sign my CD? And we're freaking out.
In the cold?
In the Kiev outside. We're like, dude, hell yeah. Like, wow. Like, you know of us? Oh, yes. I need the new one. He was like, he had all our collection on CD. I'm like, wow. Like, who would have thought? Yeah, I don't know where he got it. Oh, and I asked him, where'd you buy that? Oh, at a record shop in Moscow. And it was a CD shop in Moscow. I'm like, what? How? But he got it, and it was.
Was
cool.
it a legit? It wasn't a bootleg.
No. Yeah, I know. And Russia's known a lot for their bootlegs. No, this was legit. I'm like, wow. So it's kind of cool that they knew where we were from. And where's McAllen? Is McAllen by Houston? They know all the big cities, and I'm like, no. But it was interesting. They knew who we were, and they're like, wow.
That is cool, dude.
They did their research. It was like amazing. Like, wow. Who would have thought?
That's cool.
Yeah.
That you've had the opportunity to travel a lot. When was the last time the band played a show? Was it that Maryland? Or the Monterey Death Fest, was that the last show?
You know what? It might have been that. Yeah, we had a real good time out there with Levidity and Master in Monterrey. That might have been the last show. My mind slips me. I know we played a show in Harlingen a while back.
I think the Monterey Death Fest was after that. It might have
been that one, yeah. It's been real dry since then. We were working on new songs as well, and the pandemic hit, so we hadn't gotten together and stuff. But we have some stuff that's boiling up for another release as well. We're going to be re-recording the 2 songs that were on our 7-inch with Drown Production. We're going to record them again. And the plan originally was to release a split with Deranged from Sweden. Burning Dogma Records out of the Dallas area is going to release that. But we just found out Deranged, I think, disbanded. They broke up. So now we're going to see if we can release those 2 songs, re-recorded with another band and do a split. So we've got a couple of things going. I think Burning Dogma wants to release our The Truth in Question album on cassette. So a lot of things happening. A lot of people are asking, hey, can we release this? Can we release that? So, and it's all good. We just want to, get the music in people's hands and stuff, even if it's through reissues,
Yeah.
So
the band's last release, the Concession Continuum, came out in 2017.
I want to say it was 2018 in CD, 2019 in vinyl, and 2020, late 2020, Oshawa Industries released the cassette form. So every year.
So there's been a version of it coming out, but that was the last.
Yeah, that was the last
release.
full length or any release. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been jamming to as of late, and really, I love it because it's deathy, but it's also very technical too.
We try to show that we can play our instruments, but we don't want to overdo it.
Right.
Like it goes over your head. There's some bands that are incredible musicians, but I don't know if I want to buy their album because it's like, where's the riff? I know there's a
where's
riff
the breakdown?
There's a riff there somewhere, but where is it? The measure, the numbers. But yeah, it's what we are now. So
yeah, to kind of focus on the song.
Exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I remember when you gave it to me. Sent it to me, and I had a really good chance to absorb it and listen to it. It was great, man. It sounded great. The songs are heavy and brutal. Where did you guys record that record at?
That was recorded collection of like our home studios. Mike, our vocalist, did them at home. Yeah, we did, and also through a friend of ours in Edinburgh. He has a studio called I remember Sound of Rain Studios, and it was in Edinburgh. That's where we did a lot of the music. But we did the vocals here, and we toyed with it and mess around with it. It took a while to get that sound. It took months, maybe even close to over a year, for us to be happy. Like it was recorded, but we're not ready yet. It's not ready to be released. It's just here, We still need to polish it up. So that did take a while, and I don't regret it taking that long because we were really pleased with the final product. But we ended up doing it out there in the Edinburgh area. It's Sound of Rain Studios, and they did it. But now we've all pretty much, a lot of the guys in Severance have got their own programs and their own studio stuff at home. So maybe the next one will be done in that manner. We'll see, how we decide to do it. But
we'll talk about that in a little bit. You talked about some of the lineup changes in the past. But it seems now that the lineup for Severance has been pretty solid.
It's been it's been the same few members for going on a decade, I guess. Yeah,
wow,
so,
that's great.
It's going there. We like what we're doing and we enjoy doing it.
Who are those guys? Share.
Fernie Salinas on guitars, Jodan de la Rosa on guitar. Are the two, I don't want to say newer, but compared to the other two members, they're a little more recent, Jodan and Fernie. Abel Barrera has been in the band since the What Lies Ahead, our debut full length. And then Mike Mena, the vocalist, also has been in the band, the third longest, and then of course me when I formed the band and stuff. But yeah, and we all have our lives. We all, I understand lineup changes are going to occur. That's why I marvel at bands like the Rolling Stones and bands that didn't change members, or have been doing it forever. And like, wow, like, are you serious? Like that's incredible, But but I understand life happens and things happen and you change and you're a different person or whatever. For whatever reason, it's all good. But these are the members we've got now, and it's pretty solid right now. We enjoy doing what we're doing. So
yeah, dude, you guys were awesome when I saw y'all play, and I really think that you guys are really tight and doing good things live. Definitely very super heavy.
We take what we do seriously, man, and I hope it shows, So
yeah, I mean, with a long legacy like that the band has, you kind of have an obligation to do that.
Someone told me in Barcelona, we were doing a show there, a festival, and they're saying, you can tell that you have been around for a long time. And I'm like, what do you mean? We're slow? He's like, no. He's like, it's just it's quality. He's like, a lot of metal is not quality. He's like, I hear quality when I hear you. Right. So you can tell the difference of all these bands. And I'm like, wow, I appreciate that. So
I think that's especially true with death metal. Especially true because my forte is thrash because that's just my generation. And I stayed pretty loyal to it, but I listen to everything, and I listen to a lot of death metal too, and especially when I'm listening to like local death metal, it's like I can dig it, but if you don't do it well, then don't. It
goes over your head.
I'm not gonna dig it, man. You got to do it good.
Yeah,
and so that's great, man. That's a great compliment.
Yeah, it was. You're honored when you hear stuff like that. You're like, all this effort and time is boil out into something positive. So that's great, you know.
You mentioned right now too that it's been a little while since you guys have been together. Has the band kind of been adjusting to the pandemic now that we're kind of like already like a year in?
Yeah, I think we've all pretty much been rehearsing on our own and doing our own thing. That way when we get together, which is going to be really, really soon, it should have already happened, but we're going to be getting to get together again and just starting working on some songs. Like I said, we got to record the 2 songs from our 7-inch again, and then we're going to be, just toying with some new material. But yeah, we got a new jam spot and everything, and, we're ready to hit the ground running again. It's overdue. We need to, I'm not saying we're out of shape, but collectively we're not like
sure,
a tight
cohesive.
chain, yeah, exactly.
At this time.
And it takes, like you said, in death metal, it's not, you don't do that overnight.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and I guess it'll show. But yeah, we need to get together. We'll be doing that really soon, and just hopefully recording something else, some new material, and hopefully doing some shows sometime soon.
Yeah, the technology you talked about kind of helps, a little
Yeah.
bit. You can send files and
Yeah.
record yourself, and we hear about musicians and bands, who do that, and they live all over the country.
Yeah.
So, but all the guys from Severance are from the Valley, originally from the Valley.
All pretty much from there. Still
Yeah.
live there. Yeah, so it's kind of close knit. I know some bands that the drummer lives in Austin and the band's from Corpus. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I mean, if it works, it works. But I'm like, wow, like you're talking rehearsing once a month. They're like, we try to do at least once a week, twice a week,
Yeah.
consistently. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, but if it works, it works. So.
When would you like to go out and start doing shows again?
What are we now? Early 2021. I'm guessing hopefully summerish or sometime soon. And I know summer, and that's a lot of things going on in the summer. A lot of areas are going to be opening. Everybody's bashing Texas. You're already opening. What are you talking about? But someone's got to lead the way. Someone follow the leader.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Hopefully in the summer, after that, things will start, running and safely. Because you don't want it to, hit us back in the butt again. It's like, oh, are you serious? We're going to close down again. So, but
I think at this point, what we're seeing in San Antonio is that, the ban has been lifted. We all know that, but that the individual clubs themselves are still kind of can limit attendance, and they can require masks and other restrictions. So, I think we're seeing more of that on a smaller scale. But if you talk about like the Rammstein show that's going to happen here in September. I think that's going to be full open capacity.
Yeah.
They're starting to do some of that with UFC. So it's encouraging. The thing that's frightening is that we don't know what could happen if that does happen.
Yeah.
I always kind of keep up on the news, and I'm hearing that, they did that in Europe, and it got bad again.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there's just so much uncertainty. You would like to start playing though again.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of your lifestyle. It's part of who you are. There's a part of your life not there. It's missing. It, like,
Yeah.
like living your life without a kidney or something. You want it there. I'm missing a lung. That's life. That's performing.
Oh God.
So,
Yeah, man. It's all good, and metal's in our veins.
Yeah, it's there,
So you need to do it. What would you like to do for this new record? Is it going to be, you hear a lot of bands who are doing like, these 3-song, 4-song EPs just to kind of keep the name out there.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to continue doing splits, or do you want to do an EP or a full length? What's the plan?
I guess it just depends on what is thrown our way, like the split with the arranger we're going to do. I wouldn't have thought about that, but the idea was, tossed my way. And like, yeah, I think we can do that. So we're still going to work on another band to do the split with, since, like I said, the arranger from Sweden had split up. But, we're going to do original material. We're going to do that 7-inch again, with the, proper production. And, it was recorded in 92. So we're talking like 20 plus years of playing some old songs. So they're going to sound different, not just musicianship wise, but, as production wise as well. But we do want to record some new song, maybe like a 4-song EP, like another Salvation Denied, and just, get it out there. Some quality 4 songs, it's something that, we're proud of,
You guys want to self-record that? You think that
we're probably going to do that? Yeah, I think we're confident in our abilities, and these guys have been toying with programs, and they Joe Dan he also records other bands. So when bands are coming to you to record, you're doing something right. So and he's willing to, of course, do his own band and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I think we can the guys in the band can pretty much handle the reins on that easily. So
when would you like to have something out?
Well, being that it's 2021 already, probably late 2022, early 2022. Maybe next year. Get 3, 4, 5 songs out and do them right. Don't want to rush anything.
Sure.
The worst feeling is you rush something and then it's out there already. You really can't do much about it unless you're gonna reissue, remaster, whatever. But it's kind of like, oh, we should have waited. Or you hear errors a year after, you're like, wait a minute, I didn't hear that when we recorded it. Why is that there? Did you burp? You want to make sure it's just polished and it's for the fans, for the supporters.
I can't even tell the difference, man.
Right, I don't hear anything.
Oh, you musician guys are crazy, man. But that's cool, man. I look forward to keeping my hand on the pulse of Severance and what's going to be happening later this year with the band. Definitely, if you get some roughs, send them my way. I always like to hear stuff that bands are doing. And as we kind of move forward, before we were recording, we're talking so much about a lot of the experiences that you've had in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And we kind of mentioned some of those when we started this interview. But talk about maybe any memories or any cool shows that you recall doing here in San Antonio. Both, let me say, both as a fan coming to watch and them coming to play.
This is going to have to be the extended version.
Give it to me, man.
I've been to so many shows here in San Antonio, but the first show we did in San Antonio was with Indignation. It was Link from Thornspawn and Dana and Luis Carizales from Devastation invited us to come up here, and we did a show out there with Indignation, us, a band called Negative. I want to say they were local, and there was another band. I can't remember their name, but it was at the Cameo Theater on Commerce Street.
Wow.
I remember there was like a plane or a bicycle hanging from the roof, all rusty, like in wire. It was like some kind of decor or something. It was very interesting, but that was our very first show. On the way back, we one of our friends that was helping us with equipment, his battery died, so we were driving at night, so we couldn't get his lights to flash, so we were pulling him, and there was a tropical storm coming. It was the worst trip back home. It took like 6 hours for a 3.5 hour drive.
Wow.
But we had fun. That was our first show. We did the November to Dismember a while back.
Yeah.
We got the same time slot that Morbid Angel had at the same time, so like we had like 20 people there watching us, but you know what? It's all good. It's all fun. This is a historic moment. We did a couple of the...
That was 2001,
was
right?
it? It's been so long.
November to Dismember,
Morbid Angel. We got to see Riot, my childhood. We saw a Riot. I think MOD or Anthrax.
SOD.
SOD, yes.
Was there,
oh, man. I think that was the last pit I got on when they did the Sergeant D and the... I got in there and I regretted it.
Flotsam and Jetsam.
It was so many... In Flames, I think. It was so many bands.
So many killer bands.
They had a little place where you could eat, and we were eating our meal, and Trey and from Morbid Angels, they're eating like, dude, that's like Morbid Angel eating food next to it. Like, you guys eat chicken too?
He didn't talk to you though.
No, of course not. But
he doesn't talk to anybody. That motherfucker.
But yeah, it was fun. We've had a lot of good memories, and of course, I've been to so many classic metal shows at the Showcase. I saw Creator with Coroner, Sepultura with Devastation. I got to see Death 3 times with Sacrifice and Gorefest.
Wow.
And then with
that was at the Showcase.
That was at the Showcase.
Wow.
And then they did the Spiritual Healing Tour. Oh, with Carcass and Pestilence. That was amazing. Just so many shows here in San Antonio that you come up to. We do the 4-hour drive as little kids. Hey, get the car, get some gas money, and the road trip. Go and come back. Driving home the same night. It was all crazy. Go home like at 6 a.m. all half asleep. But those are memories, man. That's the kind of stuff you don't forget. And so there's a lot of memories right here in San Antonio. So
that's great,
beautiful.
Man. Yeah.
But one thing is funny, Rob. I got to argue the point.
Sure.
I don't know if San Antonio is South Texas because we feel left out. They were like, I talk to people from out of state. Oh, you're from South Texas, like San Antonio. I'm like, that's not really South Texas. I guess.
South Texas.
Yeah, we're really the under the South.
Right.
You're
right.
like almost 4 hours away from us. How some states don't even have 4 hours worth of travel with from one end to the other. So when people tell me South Texas or they'll say Corpus, I'm like, okay, maybe, but no, we're talking like we can hear the gunshots in Mexico going on. We can smell the tacos. Okay, that's South Texas,
Wow.
So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting when they say, out of towners or out of staters, like San Antonio, like no, not like San Antonio. I said South Texas, not South Central, but
yeah, San Antonio is like the heart of Texas, and you guys are really South Texas.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah, I'd love
like
to
purgatory
go to the
of San Antonio. You have hell, like that's us. That's where everything burns.
Brownsville is hell. That's so. Do you guys ever do shows in Brownsville?
We did a couple. Yeah, we did a few out there. Yeah,
I would not spend the night in Brownsville.
It's not that bad.
I don't know.
Just say you know me. You're all right. I know Jaime from McAllen. I'm like, all right.
Oh, you're with Jaime.
We'll let you live.
We'll let you live.
An extra stab.
We'll let you live, Rob. Fuck, man. I don't know. All that brujeria and shit kind of scares me.
It's crazy out there. It's
crazy,
out there.
right? Yeah, that's cool, man. So many cool memories. We're very fortunate here in San Antonio to have, a long history with metal, and our scene has always been thriving.
Yeah.
We have all these new young bands coming out and playing all different types of genres of metal. But I've been fortunate myself that through Rob's MetalWorks, we're able to touch base with so many bands from the Valley or Corpus or Austin, El Paso.
I mean, the whole row, Rob. Look at this museum here. There's photos of everybody everywhere. There's people that aren't even alive anymore.
True.
You're like, oh wow.
True.
I mean, this people need to. You should charge people to come in here, leave a couple of bucks, and there's it's a museum of metal. There's people everywhere. Like, wow, I know these guys.
Sure.
It's amazing. This is wow.
Yeah.
Apparently, what you're doing is respected and revered by little people like me and people like James Hetfield and got Dave Mustaine over here. I mean, you've got everybody. Wow. So what you're doing is amazing. I don't know if there's another Rob Metalwork in the state or another state or in Texas, but I'm glad that you're part of Texas because you're my state, and it's like Rob's from where I'm from. Now we could say we're both from South Texas,
right?
But not when you say that San Antonio, South Texas.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, it's like what you're doing is incredible, and you've been doing it for so many years. So I mean, wow.
I think one of the things that has kind of, and don't get me wrong, there's Rob Metalworks in different parts of the country. I know there's people like me in Chicago and then on the East Coast and in California. But I think one of the things I've always tried to incorporate through our show is just the pure respect for metal as an art form. Some people will do a metal show and kind of be silly and stupid, and I never wanted that for our program. And I think too was that we never in any way whatsoever have ever tried to monetize Rob in any way. We don't sell anything. We don't charge anybody anything. We've just never done that. It's always been about our passion in supporting Texas metal and supporting some of the great national bands that come through our markets, to play and perform. So
it comes from the heart, not from the wallet.
Exactly, brother.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
And to have Severance, like you said, it when we started, long overdue, bro.
Yeah.
Long over. I should have had you guys on already like three or four times already.
In the 20th century. You should have had us in the 1900s, but here we are. Oh, well.
Here we are,
Better late than never, right? So.
And I think it's cool because we get to talk about all this cool shit.
We get to cover a broader period of time.
How many decades have we covered?
Too many.
Wow. But that's great. And as we kind of get near the end of this interview, talk a little bit. I saw that you do this thing called Procreation Metal Distribution.
Oh, okay, yeah. I have just a little small distro, maybe like about 200 or 300 titles of CDs. What I was doing since we released the Concession Continuum individually, self-finance, I would do a lot of trades with various labels worldwide. And I would, hey, give me 15 of your CDs and I'll send you 15 of mine. So I got a lot of the Severance stuff out there. And what it's doing pretty well, it's fun. I've actually started buying records wholesale with labels that don't, trade or that already have our stuff. So I've accumulated about close to 300, cassettes, vinyls, and CDs, mainly death metal, but a little bit of black and some grind and some thrash. So I have nothing big. I don't go worldwide. I'm not trying to, I don't want to charge $20 for a CD just to ship it and then another 10 on top. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to keep, hard to get items from different countries, and I'm taking the loss on it. I'm not paying any bills with it, but I'm getting, metal releases in the hands of certain people in the U.S. that don't have to pay $30 to get it in the U.S. cracked, bent, broken, or wait 4 months for it, especially right now. So I've been doing that. I don't have people contact me personally on my Facebook page, and that's how I get these things out. So I don't have really a website or a page for it. I might get there eventually, but and I called it Procreation because that was the very first Severance demo that we did, Procreation rehearsal demo. So, but I've been selling. I set up at shows. Of course, I haven't set up in a while. I've been doing a lot of mail order, but mainly U.S. customers and friends and stuff. So I've been doing that. But it's a little something I do on the side. If we're doing a Severance show, I normally don't take it because it's too much to handle with the Severance merchandise. But if Severance is not performing, I'll take the stuff there and set up shop at various shows and stuff. So
these are mostly independent releases?
Mainly, not all of them. I'd say about 80% of them are.
Right.
But yeah, you do have some, 20%, some bigger names,
Sure.
some Lamb of God, some Flotsam and Jetsam, stuff like that. So whatever I can get my hands on and stuff. So.
Let me ask you something, and I want to pick your brain real quick. In this day and age, because of how musicians and bands can utilize social media, how important should it be for a veteran band like you or a young and up and coming band to kind of seek out a record deal? How important do you think that is now?
God, you know what? Because we've never been in that position. I can only speak from what I hear from the outside. You do have restrictions. You are limited in a way of things you can and can't do, or things, But in a way, sometimes you're independent if you don't have that restriction, so you can do what you want. So I guess there's a plus and a minus to everything. I know I've had some friends that are like, oh, man, we got screwed over by this label and we never got anything. And then, of course, you release your own stuff. It's like, well, we got them all. You want them, come get them from us, so here we are. So I guess it just depends. I mean, there's horror stories I've heard, and luckily we haven't been mistreated in that manner. Every label we've worked with has been super cool with us, whether it's Burning Dogma, whether it's Savard, I mean, everybody has been like, it's just gorgiastic, extreme music. Everybody has done what they say they were going to do, and it's worked out great. But we have a connection with these people. We have a friendship with them. So, but it's important, but I don't think it's necessary to maintain your substance. It's not vital. I think you can survive without that backing. Mm-hmm. But if you can get it, go ahead. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. But you can sustain yourself in both different paths, the right hand path and the left hand path.
Right.
With label dependency or without it, on your own, independent.
I've always kind of felt like you do. Kind of it's a double-edged sword, good and bad. Especially, it also, I think it has a big part of it is really what kind of metal you play too. Mm-hmm. Like, you're playing more like, very popular commercialized type of heaviness than, that's what mainly a lot of labels are looking for. Yeah. But, if you're playing some really heavy stuff, it's not going to cross over from the underground, then, keep it underground, DIY.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
No, not at all. Very cool. Jaime, thank you so much, man.
Oh, real quick, Rob, I just want to,
Sure.
I know you have Severance stickers, Severance CDs, Severance shirts, but I brought you a little gift.
All right. I like gifts.
I don't know if you know, I'm a published author.
No.
I've written 3 novels, and 2 of them have won awards. By the way, look me up on Facebook. This is my profile picture.
Wow.
It's Jaime Perez. A lot of people find Jaime Perez, like 1,000 of them. I never put my photo there because I think I don't want to discourage people from befriending me. So my profile picture is basically my novel. But yeah, I brought a book. I don't know if you're a reader or not.
I am.
Unfortunately, I have 3 books. This is my 3rd one. My 2nd one that I'm out of, and I didn't realize it, is actually set in San Antonio, and I wanted to bring you one of those. It's called
this
The
is
Vacancy.
fiction?
Yeah, they're all fiction. My first one was based on a true story, realistic fiction. That one and this one have won awards. But on my spare time, I write novels and stuff, and right now I'm working with an agency in hopes of trying to get a screenplay for this novel, and hopefully one day it'll be out there in cinema or on Netflix or something. But I don't know if you're a reader or not.
Worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah.
Sounds like my life.
Yep. Basically, yeah. I should have put it in parentheses, a.k.a. Rouse MetalWorks. But yeah, I don't know if you're a reader or not.
Wow,
but yeah,
yes, I'm
something
educator.
on your spare time. Yeah. So.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
No problem,
no one's
man,
ever brought me a book.
Yeah, I figured that would be. I'm a
Wow.
first. I did a first. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, great. I'm never gonna forget that. Thank
Hopefully
you.
you won't.
Everybody, look him up and check it out. I'll definitely share some words on it on our social media. Sweet. Any other last words, Jaime, before we end out?
Rob, it's an honor to be doing this. I made the drive from McAllen, 4 or 5 hour drive just to do this, and I don't regret it. I wish we'd done it decades ago, but we're doing it now in 2021 amidst a pandemic, and here we are, and just 2 metalheads discussing history and, sharing our stories, and that's what metal is. That's what it's all about. It's basically experiences you've gone through. So yeah, whether a fan, a musician, a manager, whatever.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity when you invited us over, Rob. I'm like, you know what? What day? I think we had worked on like 3 or 4 days, and we finally got it to click. No, not this day. No, I can't this day. I can't this day either. I'm at work, but we finally got it done, and this is beautiful. So I'm kudos to you, what you're doing. And just hopefully you can keep doing it for. You've been doing it for how long?
25 years.
Do it for another 25, maybe 50. Why not? I don't care if you're in a wheelchair or whatever. Just keep it going. All
right, man. Thank you so much, Jaime.
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure too, man.
Mine as well.
What a really fast-paced, informative, articulate chat we've had. We've been talking now for a while, and it doesn't even seem like it. And we started talking about 30 minutes before the interview started. So
we covered a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of history.
A lot of good things. We should have started recording
right.
earlier, but
Outtakes.
Nonetheless, man, thank you so much for coming up here. Like I said, I want to stay connected with Severance. I want to stay connected with the Rio Grand Valley. So you know how to get a hold of me, man.
Yeah,
you know how to get a hold of me, and I look forward to jamming some of your older stuff.
There you go.
I want to hear it on my stereo, okay?
Definitely.
Alrighty. Remember, everyone out there, the man was here tonight. Jaime Perez. You saw the band right here. Their latest record, the Concession Continuum, is out. It's brutal and heavy for all you people who dig that. Go out there and look for it as soon as you finish watching this interview. You saw Severance only right here on the big program. Rob's MetalWorks.